Today is May 4th, 2025. Some could say May the 4th be with you, and severe weather is going to be the force for weather as we go forward into next week with damaging winds, large hail, and some tornadoes possible, as well as some heavy rainfall, which could cause some flash flooding as well. We're going to be walking you through the weather pattern over the next 2 to 3 weeks, giving you a diagnosis and analysis on temperatures, precipitation, and severe weather moving forward. So do your part. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. This helps you get all the accurate, reliable weather information daily, right? We do daily weather forecast videos on this channel, long range and monthly weather outlooks. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. So let's look here now at our temperatures, at least the anomalies as we head into this afternoon on Sunday, May 4th. We are seeing the coolest anomalies across the east and the southeast, and that is expected because we have a cutoff low pressure system bringing cloud cover and precipitation, and that will naturally keep our temperatures cooler. Sunshine prevails across the southern Canadian prairies of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Western Ontario. Our temperature anomalies up here could be pushing 40 degrees above normal as we go into this afternoon. And then, of course, for the West Coast, we're going to be a little bit cooler. Here are your high temperatures expected this Sunday afternoon. Notice we're pushing 90 up here in eastern Montana and western North Dakota this afternoon. Those are your temperatures that we just looked at with our anomalies, 40 degrees above the norm, and that would likely be up into Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Western Ontario, getting into the 80s and near 90 as well. Where we have the cloud cover and precipitation, that is going to hold our temperatures down into the 50s and 60s this afternoon in the Ohio Valley, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic, where you see a little bit more sunshine down near the Gulf Coast from coastal Texas into Florida. We're going to see those temperatures pop right up into the 80s and 90s, and then a little bit cooler across the West Coast. Let's look at our severe weather outlook from our friends at the Storm Prediction Center, putting out a 2 out of 5 in yellow across southeastern New Mexico and far west Texas there today. The closer you are to 5, the greater the chance for severe weather. So a 2 out of 5 today is generally a low threat, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it. 1 out of 5 on the risk scale from Florida up there into the Mid-Atlantic, including parts of the Delmarva as we go into this afternoon. There is a chance that some of these storms could rotate, which means tornadoes would be possible. Right now, a 2% chance of tornadoes in green, southeastern and central New Mexico, and then over here into parts of West Virginia, down into the eastern Carolinas, coastal Georgia, and east coast of Florida as we go into the afternoon. So let's talk about the eastern risk here so far. As we go into the early afternoon, watching these pop-up showers and storms. And note, not everybody is going to see a thunderstorm today. Not everybody is going to see severe thunderstorms today. It's just a chance across the East Coast. But if you get under one of those storms, 60-mile-per-hour winds, some quarter, maybe half-dollar size hail, and an isolated brief tornado may be possible heading into late this afternoon and early this evening. Once the sun sets, the instability is going to go completely on the wayside, and which means we're going to be seeing a lot of clearer weather as we go into the nighttime hours tonight, and the thunderstorm activity will dwindle in coverage and intensity. Let's look at the areas down here into West Texas and into New Mexico as well. We're going to be seeing a lot of storms really starting to develop here. We have an arm of thunderstorm activity developing from New Mexico into West Texas. So Lubbock down there to Midland could be talking about some severe weather, 60 to 70 mile an hour wind variety down there, quarter to half-dollar size hail, and the potential for a couple of isolated tornadoes will be possible as we go in towards the evening hours. We have a little bit better of instability over here, so the storm activity relative to the East Coast will be going a little bit longer into the evening and overnight hours, but eventually those storms should fade away into early Monday morning as we get closer to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's look at our temperature anomalies for the work week ahead. This is Monday, May 5th through Friday, May 9th. Cooler across the south central, as you can expect, with lots of cloud cover. Again, precipitation, that will keep our temperatures below normal. To the north, sunshine, sun-splashed skies across southern Canada and the northern United States like the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Minnesota will help our temperatures soar above normal throughout the remainder of the work week. And let's look at those temperatures. 80s across the plains, especially the northern plains as we go into tomorrow on Monday, May 5th. As we go into Tuesday, May 6th, the 80-degree line moves further east. So Minneapolis, St. Paul, places like Chicago getting into the 70s, 76 in Des Moines as we go into Tuesday, and going into Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of some 70s further to the north and into the 80s again by the end of the week, right? By Friday, May 9th. So spring-like temperatures temperatures are here, and that is some great news. And no real big heat waves expected this week either, which is some great news as well. So if you like spring-like temperatures, you got a lot of it over the next 5 to 6 days. Now, as we go into Monday, May 5th, tomorrow, another risk for severe weather, mainly down here in west central Texas. Also watching some severe weather from Pennsylvania, western New York, plumb all the way to Lake Erie, all the way back here into the Delmarva region again in eastern North Carolina. Could be seeing a few of those damaging wind gusts to 60 miles an hour over there, quarter-size hail, and a couple of tornadoes on Monday. And then Tuesday, it's more of East Texas and near the Houston area where we have to watch out for that 2 out of 5 risk scale again for severe weather. So let's look here mainly at the main area of concern, and this is Monday morning. We got some showers and storms there in West Texas, and these could be some hailers, and then they'll try to make its way into central Texas and kind of reinvigorate into the afternoon with the peak heating. Could be seeing some heavy rain out of these, some cloud-to-ground lightning. Even if we don't see severe weather, lightning is still going to be a component with these storms, and that could be dangerous in itself. That's why when thunder roars, you definitely go indoors. And as we go into the evening hours, you can see more thunderstorm activity tomorrow evening, blossoming first in West Texas and parts of the Texas Panhandle, and then it will shift itself further east. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area down to San Antonio, Abilene, all the way into the Waco region, we'll start to see some pretty strong storms going into the day on Tuesday, and then that'll continue to work its way eastward. Tyler, Texas, College Station, Houston, into the Lake Charles area and Shreveport. We'll keep an eye on you as we go into Tuesday afternoon and into Tuesday evening. Now, going through the remainder of the week, if you're not in Texas, we're going to see some precipitation across the Rockies. Higher elevation snows will be possible, mainly Monday and Tuesday. And then as we go into Thursday, Friday, a lot of that precipitation is down here across the Gulf Coast states and into the southeast. And some pretty heavy rainfall will result from these thunderstorms over the next 5 to 6 days. This goes through Saturday morning on May 10th of 2025. And notice we got some very heavy rain across the south central United States here. Rainfall amounts could be pushing 6 inches in some areas where we see repeated rounds and complexes of showers and thunderstorms. Notice the upper Midwest though. So if you live in the Dakotas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, and the UP of Michigan, forget about the rain. We're not going to be seeing a lot of that. In fact, we're going to see a lot more sunny conditions as we go into the new work week ahead with some clouds overhead, but they won't produce rain. That is for sure. And then looking across the east, we're going to be seeing some heavier rains for places like Boston, Portland, Maine, all the way down to Hartford there and Long Island, where we could be seeing 2 to 4 inches of rain there. A little bit drier in Virginia and North Carolina. So we did mention areas in the upper Midwest and then over there into Virginia, North Carolina, getting some drier weather. And that is actually going to create an issue where we could have drought developing in the short term, right? Going towards the middle of May into the yellow here, that's where drought development is likely. And notice those areas: Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, possibly the UP of Michigan, and then over there into Virginia, North Carolina, those yellow shaded areas where drought development's likely and a rapid onset drought is possible. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. How about our friends over in the West? Well, in the Rockies, we're going to see precipitation. The West Coast, though, especially for California, bone dry as we go into next week. Not really expecting much out of that out across the West Coast. Now, going into week 2 of May, this is Monday, May 12th through Friday, May 16th. And notice we see a ridge of high pressure building across the west and a trough more from the Hudson Bay extending down toward Maine there into the United States and Canada. And that is going to create some cooler temperatures from areas of Ontario eastward into Quebec, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. Temperature anomalies could be 15 degrees below normal into the second week of May up there, and then warmer weather underneath that ridge of high pressure across the west, and that includes Western Canada too, across British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. And we look at the jet stream heading into week 2. This is Monday, May 12th. Notice it's further to the north, so we're going to see any type of storm system well to the north here with frequent cold fronts passing across the upper Midwest, perhaps into the Great Lakes in the Northeast, and this could be a trigger for some showers and storms as we increase our instability, or what we call storm energy out there, and that is really going to increase at the end of the period late next week by the 16th and the 17th of May, and that could result in a couple rounds or complexes of showers and storms as cold fronts drop south from Canada through the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes. Now, moisture supply is going to be important to see how widespread these showers and storms will get and how severe they could get, but something we'll keep a very close eye on as we see increased instability towards the end of next week. And notice the precipitation with this. This would be great news for the upper Midwest. We talked about how dry it will be in the coming week. Well, as we go into week 2, there is an opportunity as we have a 1, maybe 2 cold fronts coming down from Canada, dropping south towards the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and Northeast. This could give us a couple rounds of rain, and that could add up to 1 or 2 inches. So that would be some beneficial rain. Now going into week 3 of May, or the second half of May, between May 17th and the 24th, ridge of high pressure beginning to build across the central and eastern U.S. A little bit of a signal here in the long-range guidance of a trough out west. And what that means for temperatures is we're seeing more of normal to above normal conditions, mainly favored in the central and eastern U.S., and a little bit cooler across the west as the trough perhaps starts to develop. And where the clash of the air masses will be is in the middle of the country, so the heartland. We're talking the agricultural belt here of the Midwest down into the central plains. And this is where we could start to see severe weather increase in a big way into the 3rd week there of May. In fact, if you look at the chart here, this is your supercell composite parameter chart. Notice how it really increases towards the middle and late portion of May. This is the 14th, 15th, and really beyond here off the screen. We actually start to see that really increase. And over there at NIU, the week 3 accumulated supercell composite parameter space is very favorable for severe weather. And just to dumb this down for you, the red areas is a very favorable environment where moisture, instability, and wind shear could combine for a significant severe weather outbreak sometime in the 3rd week of May. This extends all the way up into the Midwest, by the way, into Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and Nebraska, and south across the plains as a dry line setup would be very favorable for large hail events and tornadic supercells as we go into the 3rd week of May. Well, thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for the latest accurate and reliable weather information, and I'll keep you updated here throughout the week.